An action-packed Independence Day for India at the Oval. Not quite the action that they would have hoped for, though. 148 all-out and 61.1 overs. England replying with 62 without loss by stumps. It seems to go from bad to worse this Indian tour. Joining me is Lawrence Booth with the Wisden Cricket Almanac. Lawrence, we talk about 5 Test series and the role that momentum plays and how England had the opportunity to come back because of the duration of the series. Few of those Indian batsmen, it seems like it's just a never-ending spiral that they can't get out of.
Yeah, I mean, on today's evidence, Dhoni seems to be the only one who's held it together mentally. Perhaps he has a certain perspective on the game that allows him to distance himself. He's not such a technical player as the others, is he? So he doesn't seem to get into ruts. He has his own method. And if he hadn't scored 82, you know, it could have been all out for 70. Or it could have been totally embarrassing for them. And in fact, it needed a slip catch put down by Ian Bell to spare them being bowled out for 95. So hard to see anything other than 3-1 now, and really an amazing turnaround after India, you know, that euphoric high at Lord's. And
you look at what happened today. It wasn't even Anderson and Broad taking the bulk of the wickets. It was Jordan and Wokes with 3 apiece.
Yeah, that's a big moment for England because Anderson and Broad have carried England going into this game. I think they've taken 37 wickets in the first 4 tests between them. Wokes and Jordan had something like 4 wickets between them at an average in the mid-80s from the 3rd and 4th test. So a huge thing for them to take 6 for 62 between them. Broad and Anderson shared the other 4. You know, Wokes has probably been a bit unlucky all series. Perhaps he got his rewards today a bit. Jordan hasn't really found his rhythm at all, but he finished off the last test with 2 wickets. He then began with 2 wicket maidens. I think that sequence of 4 wickets spread across 2 tests has given him a bit of confidence. And you know, you've got Finn and Plunkett in the wings as well. That's suddenly looking like a reasonably healthy seam bowling unit for England. But look, India shouldn't have been bowled out for 148. It was a good toss to win. Conditions were helpful, but they should have been able to guts it out for at least 200, 250.
Were you surprised to see a pitch like the one we got today? Because typically, at least the last few times India have played at the Oval, it was just full of runs, dry, and batsmen used to go on and on.
Yeah, I was a bit surprised to see as much grass on it. It wasn't quite the green top we saw at Lord's for the second test, but grassier than you usually get at the Oval. Actually, I've seen some county tracks in the last few years here, as Surrey have tried to get result wickets, and they've had a bit of grass on them, so it felt more like a domestic track. But England have obviously worked out that if there's a bit of bounce in the track, as there was at both Southampton and Manchester, and a bit of grass, and they win a toss in the right conditions, Anderson and Broad about both on top of their games, that's a handful. And India look shot mentally. It's a 5-test series, and batsmen are repeating the same kind of errors now.
Yeah, I was just coming to that. I mean, we obviously spoke about Kohli and Pujara at the beginning of the series, but even somebody like Rahane or even Vijay, both of them started the series well, even they look like, you know, I don't know if it's mental fatigue or just had enough, basically.
Well, you know, Rahane's a fighter, isn't he? He played beautifully at Lord's to set up that win. I rate him very highly, but he's got out 3 times in this series, caught and bowled, which is a slightly strange way to go. Vijay, you know, I think England have worked out that he gets a lot of his runs to third man, and they've kind of moved 4th slip slightly squarer. And I know today Gully was picking off a couple of those sort of defensive prods. And he's not getting fully forward, so he's nicking off. You know, but again, we've talked about this before. Kohli and Pujara are the 2 massive disappointments. Kohli's lost his off stump completely. He obviously went into this game deciding to leave everything because he's been getting out mainly nicking off, and he probably got a bit unlucky with his LBW, but he was still playing no shot to a ball that was too close to his stumps. Pujara's seems vulnerable to the nip backer. England think if they keep it round off stump, sooner or later it'll sneak through. In fact, he could have been out a couple of overs earlier to almost identical delivery from Broad. So Pujara's averaging 23, Kohli's averaging 12 or 13. That's India haven't been able to bridge that gap, basically.
One final question. I mean, the weather forecast for tomorrow, I know we can't trust those too much. It says bright sunshine. This could get very nasty for India, couldn't it? 62 for no loss at stumps.
If it's bright sunshine tomorrow, then, you know, like most venues in England, you look up, not down. The Oval can be a beautiful batting track if the sun's out. The layer of grass will have worn off. So it's tough on India. They batted in the worst conditions today. They made a brave call in Manchester to bat first in those conditions. It backfired badly. England got lucky today with the conditions, but they exploited it. And I think the way the momentum has gone, that if India had won the toss and bowled first, they probably wouldn't have wrought the same damage that England done. But yeah, there's 4 days left, and it's very hard to see India getting out of this now.
Thanks a lot for joining us, Lawrence. That's it from day one at the Oval. Not a good one for India. Join us after the second day's play tomorrow. Thank you.